Hello, friends, and welcome to this episode of WOD right here on a Saturday morning. We are hours, minutes, and seconds away from Wrestlemania, but not only that, hours, minutes, and seconds away from the first ever Boom Broadcasting pre-show before WrestleMania. That's right. Before you tune into the showcase of the Immortals, the grand stage of them all, WrestleMania, make sure you jump right back to Boom this afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So definitely check your time zone wherever you watch this at to see the Boom Broadcasting WrestleMania pre-show right here. So many people are going to be hanging out. The Prez is preparing this right now. Good brother Mouth with Mike is over there at Mania in Vegas. And I've been told by a very, very, very reliable source that he took a chair today and whacked that no good, rotten SOB Dom Mysterio right on the side of the head, and he took that shot when he swung that chair for me. That's what I've been told, so definitely go check that out on the WWE's Twitter page right there, where you can see good brother Mouth with Mike getting that big moment in the sun to do what every wrestling fan wants to do. Take that chair and just, that guy Dom, it's just so easy to swing a chair at that guy and hit him. But we're definitely so excited. It's WrestleMania season. We got the Boom Broadcasting pre-show. You don't know who's going to be there. It could be me from WOD. It could be Podcast Smitty from Quick Hits. It could be the Prez, Wayne the Model, Cody Johnson, all the rest of us mouthing off with Mike may jump on live in Vegas during the pre-show. You never know who's going to drop by. So definitely after you watch WOD, make sure you tune in to the pre-show. We got a jam-packed show. We're going to try to get it all under 30 minutes. We may go in overtime because we got so many WrestleMania predictions to make. We got Dark Side of the Rings to talk about, Mr. USA Tony Atlas, and also the last person inducted into 2025 WWE Hall of Fame class, no other than the Russian Bear Nikita Koloff, right out of Winterville, really Greenville, but Winterville, North Carolina. So we'll definitely dive into that on today's episode of WOD. Sit back, relax, strap on your seatbelt. It's WrestleMania. I'm excited, and we are ready to go. Before we could even get started with our predictions for Mania right here on the, call this the pre-show to the Boom Broadcasting pre-show of Mania, we want to talk about Dark Side of the Rings. I tell you, every week we're going to talk about the Dark Side of the Ring TV show on Vice TV. Another banger after banger after banger. Now this is a banger episode of Dark Side of the Rings. This one kind of hit at home because this guy was still alive. And it was somebody as a child that I definitely looked up to when you heard his name, because he was one of the people in the business back in those 70s, 60s, and 80s who broke barriers for a lot of people of minority races in wrestling. So this was another episode I definitely wanted to check out. No other than Mr. USA Tony Atlas, Dark Side of the Ring story. Tony was able to narrate it. You had Gerald Briscoe come in. You had a lot of people from the territories come in, people from the WWF days when Tony was in WWF. And we learned so much about Tony. You read about Tony, his trials, his overcomings, the shortcomings, his life story, but Dark Side of the Ring just did once again a good job of telling everything from Tony breaking in and learn something. I did not know this. I remember watching the match later on in years as I got older, because this happened back in, I believe, 83. So I saw it back in like 94, 95 when I stumbled across some of those tapes at Granny's house of Tony Atlas being the first person to pin the immortal Hulk Hogan. A lot of people forgot back in the 80s before this Hulkamania thing took off, Hogan was a heel. Tony Atlas debuted and pinned. Well, that was his big debut. That was his big debut on the main stage in Madison Square Gardens. But he was one of the first people to ever pin Hulk Hogan. Now, they did very good back then because Hogan's foot was on the rope to save face. He put Tony over, but he also protected himself as a heel by doing that. But Tony had a very good story. And it talks about from that press slam, being the first person ever to press slam Hulk Hogan, a guy to weigh 300 pounds. You got to remember, when Hogan was a heel, the Incredible Hulk Hogan, he was booked to the moon as the top heel of the promotion of WWF back then and WWF. When Tony beat him, that started a big run with Tony. And Tony came in from the territory to WWF and was already elevated to the main title scene. He got put in that main event picture. And Tony talked about those $10,000 pay nights that when you're coming in, working the territory where you're making about $1,000 a week, $500 a week, to now being in a match with the Incredible Hulk Hogan, being all the matches with King Kong Bundy, all these top stars getting $10,000 paychecks every night. He said he didn't know what to do with the money. And Tony told about the fetish he had. I thought you knew that was definitely going to be in it. If you watch WWE Legends House, Tony talked about it there. So, everybody knows Tony has a thing for sneakers and people walking on him with sneakers. He talked about that. He talked about the highs and lows. He talked about something that I definitely knew that he was going to want to address because we heard the Rock's version of it on Young Rock when the Soul Patrol broke up. A lot of people forget Soul Patrol was the first ever African-American tag team to win the tag titles, and to win on WrestleMania 1 made it even better. So Tony's got a lot of attributes to check off of why he is a Hall of Famer. First guy to beat Hogan in Madison Square Garden. One half of the first ever African-American tag team. Tony did a lot, but as Tony rose to fame, he talks about how all of these things catch up to you. Of course, we knew him in The Rock, the Soul Man, Rocky Johnson. We're going to break up. The Rock did a good job talking about it on Young Rock about the friction that his dad and Tony Atlas had. Tony did a good job of telling that story and pretty much verifying everything that The Rock said on Young Rock was true. That Soul Man did not like Tony because he saw Tony as the next up-and-coming threat. And a lot of people forgot. Soul Man was promised to be the first ever African-American champion in WWF. So now you got this young guy who's just a little bit more younger than you, has a better body build, because Tony Atlas used to be a bodybuilder, has a better body build than you. Now Vince started looking at this guy like, well, hold on, Soul Man, maybe this is the guy we should go with. So he did good talking about the breakup of the Soul Patrol. A lot of people were sad when they broke up because they broke barriers in WWF winning those tag titles. Tony talked about how he blew his chance of being the first ever African-American to win the WWF title in WWF because he had a chance that night to show up, but he started doing some no-shows because the money and the fame got to Tony. And he takes you all the way on the highs, then he drops you down on the lows where he was pretty much fired from WWF because all the no-shows, was considered now a threat in WWF because people are looking for Mr. USA and they're advertising, and Tony no-shows, to being fired and now sleeping on a bench in Maine in a park. And Tony just did so good talking about sleeping on that bench, pretty much the world crashing to an end for him, how his wife today saved his life when she came and asked him, are you going to sleep out here? And he shooed her off like, get out of here. She came back that night in negative 20-degree weather. Tony pretty much was done. He said he was out of wrestling. That's all he knew was wrestling. That's it. He tells you his story. He was not formally educated. So wrestling is the only way he knew how to make a living. How she came that night and brought a blanket, put over him, and then the next night invited Tony to stay with her. And then it goes through the triumph story of her and Tony getting married, Tony getting called back to WWF. And I don't know when Tony got called back. And he talks about getting called back and how he knew Vince was taking a rib at him with this Saba Samoa gimmick, where he comes out as an African warrior, kind of like what Kamala was, an African warrior, doing the dance and wearing the head feathers, all that stuff. But Tony, and I always wonder why, this is Mr. USA. This is Tony Atlas, chiseled out of stone. Why did he take this? And Tony talks about it on this Dark Side of the Ring. He said, when you're sleeping on a bench in a park, and you get a call from Vince that he wants to bring you back to WWF and put you back on the payroll, you'll do whatever you got to do. And I respect Tony a hell of a lot more now. I always had respect for the guy, but when he said that, he said, sometimes you got to swallow your pride and do what you got to do to make a paycheck. He said, was I embarrassed? Because I went from being Mr. USA on the top, fighting Hogan, fighting King Kong Buddy, fighting Superstar Billy Graham, all these people, to now being at the bottom of the card on Superstars, dressed up in an African attire with head feathers, all the stuff, dancing to the ring. Was I embarrassed? Yes, I was embarrassed. But I had to do what I had to do to make a paycheck. That was very highly of Tony, gave me even more respect for him. Then they go on, and Tony, when he gets released again, he said Vince brought him back. He said in his heart of hearts, Vince brought him back to make a mockery of him. It was a joke. It was a real. But he stayed long enough to get a few checks. Tony was able to get released again, found his way in Maine, and then he talks about how a Maine producer told Tony, I can't give you what you was making in WWF, but I can promise you at least a $1,500 to $5,000 paycheck every week or by the end of the month. Because we can book good matches up here. You are Mr. USA. People remember you. You got a big following. And Tony talks about then when they build this little indie promotion in Maine, right in this little area, how Vince started running shows in the next town over, drawing those fans over there where they weren't spending money at the indie show. That's why you got to support indie wrestling. Got to support the people. Please, if you don't take anything from any of my shows on WOD, please support local indie wrestling, whether it's indie wrestling, mom and pops, anything, please support it. But how Vince was taking money from the indie show, and they pretty much had to close the doors. They couldn't compete with a WWF coming in once every other month running a house show and people going to that versus going to see Tony Atlas. Of course, now Tony's wife is sick. She's in a nursing home. He goes every day and takes after very actual him. Just show the humility and humbleness he has to take after his wife. And even at 70 years old, Tony's still working out. And Tony's still wrestling those shows up there in Maine. He's still doing spot shows. And Gerald Briscoe talked about it. He said him and Tony was invited for a show to do autograph signing. He said, so Tony signed autographs and Tony disappears. He's only looking for Tony like, where is Mr. USA? Where'd he go? He said, I go in the locker room and say, Tony's probably back there with the boys, having some tell old war stories, doing what the old guys do. So Jerry Briscoe said, I want to go back there and join in. And Tony's lacing up his boots saying, I'm getting ready to bump and work tonight because this is all he knows. And he knows that there's medical bills he has to pay for his wife. So he's doing what he got to do. Very good Dark Side of the Ring. Very good Dark Side of the Ring. Really, really brings an emotional tear to your eye to see a guy. And he said Hogan, that's what he said at the end, wrapping it up. He said, Hogan told me I went from a guy at the top of the card to being at the bottom of the card to now working spot indie shows just to make a living. But very hats off to Tony. Another good episode of Dark Side of the Rings. Just makes you respect Mr. USA, the Hall of Famer, so much. He talked about the run he had when Mark Henry went out on a limb and requested Tony Atlas to be his personal manager in ECW so that Tony could make money and get paid. And they ran with this for a while. And Tony got released. Mark talked about he was very upset about that because he wanted that run to last all the way till his run ended in WWE with Tony being willing to keep steady finance coming for Tony, but WWE had different plans. Very good episode for Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Glad I was able to watch this one. If you have not seen this one, definitely go back and watch it. It is definitely a tearjerker on the old eyes because it really makes you appreciate what this guy did. First of all, breaking barriers in WWE, the things he had to go through when he finally got to the top of the card. The not being very formally educated, not being able to read and write. Some of the reels and tricks they did on Tony, some of the things they done were very, very, he talked about it. So much racism he had to go through in the locker room with the boys back in those days because he was trying to make a paycheck. Very good one right here. Just hats off to Tony Atlas. Thank you for what you have done, not only just for minority wrestlers, but for all wrestlers now. Everybody is getting some type of moral victory or life victory in this business of professional wrestling due to the things that Tony Atlas and these guys before him, all colors, black, white, red, brown, green, and purple, have done so that these guys can benefit the harvest of the hard work that they put in the earlier days in the wrestling business. Very good one right here. Definitely go check that out. Mr. USA, Tony Atlas, my good friend on WOD and Boom Broadcasting. We salute you, Mr. USA. You are truly an embodiment of being a Hall of Famer in WWE and a Hall of Famer for what you have done for professional wrestling. Welcome back to WOD right here on Saturday as we get you ready for WrestleMania. Like I stated earlier, we are hours, minutes, seconds away before night one of WrestleMania kicks off. We're also hours, minutes, and seconds away before the first ever Boom Broadcasting pre-show before WrestleMania right here on Boom Broadcasting channel on YouTube. So definitely tune back in this afternoon for that. When you see it goes live, make sure you hit that subscribe, hit that bell, so when we go live this afternoon, you can catch the Boom Broadcast pre-show. As I stated earlier, you don't know who's going to drop in. We could get the prayers. You could get me from WOD. You could get Podcast Smitty from Quick Hits, Wayne the Model. You could get Jason from 3 from D. You could get Cody. So many people you could get right here on the pre-show. Never know. Some of the guys from Four Side the Rings may drop in. Some of the girls from Black Master Constellation may drop in. We don't know who is going to be on this pre-show. That's why you gotta definitely come back, check us out, because we're going to be getting you ready till the fireworks start and the national anthem starts for WrestleMania Night 1. Well, we had the Hall of Fame last evening. Great Hall of Fame, 10 p.m. Pacific time. If you're East Coast like I am, 1 a.m. But I stayed up to watch the Hall of Fame last evening. Well, last night, not even evening, last night, because it's always good when a guy with Carolina ties gets in the Hall of Fame. As I state all the time, Carolina, we are the melting pot and the breeding ground for some of the best active wrestlers right now and some of the best past wrestlers. And I know everybody's got to claim to fame. Chicago, you got Punk. Florida, you got Roman in the bloodline pretty much. Even though they come from the American Samoa Island, majority of the ties lived there and went to Florida. So you got the entire Noni Samoan dynasty in your state, your claim of flame. California has so many. Bailey, the Hulkster. You just think about it. Georgia, Cobb County, Big Boss Man. Georgia, Cody Rhodes, even though I still say Cody Rhodes has some North Carolina ties in there. He's more of a Georgia boy. But when you think of Carolina, not only do you think of Ric Flair and all the other greats come through here, Minnesota, Arn Anderson, Carolina guy now, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Carolina guy. You think about another guy who comes from the ENC of Carolina that was pretty much inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, no other than the Russian Bear, Ivan Koliff. Hats off to Ivan Koliff and his family. He is deceased now, but hats off to his family for having Mr. Koliff inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Hats off to him. Ivan Koliff was a great heel and face in the territories. he pretty much was during that time the Cold War was going on. So they used Ivan as that great foreign heel from Russia that you could boo out of the stadium. Then when he turned face, the fans just went off behind him because that was like the Allied power. He's helping the good guys. When I went to Greenville years ago to work, it was three things I wanted to do. Three things. One, meet Ruff McNeil, head football coach for East Carolina University. Met Ruff McNeil at the barbershop. Had a great conversation with Coach McNeil. Great guy. Met Lincoln Riley at the barbershop. Great conversation with Lincoln Riley. Check. That was not on this list. Ruff McNeil. I got Ruff and Lincoln all in the same day. Number two, the former East Carolina University head football coach, who was now the head football coach of the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, Skip Holtz, still resided in Greenville. So my goal was, when I was down in Greenville for that year working, to run and meet Skip Holtz. Check. Had a chance. Skip Holtz still came down to Greenville during the off season to stay for a couple weeks, especially in the summertime and springtime. During the spring break, if they weren't doing practice, he was in Greenville. During the summer, you could find him in Greenville, in the mall, anywhere. Had a chance to meet Skip Holtz, shake his hand. Hey, yes, I was that guy that kind of rolled through that neighborhood more than what I should have been doing. Yes, I was working, but I was also checking to see if Coach Holtz was out so that I could get that 5 minutes to blow the horn away and hoping that he would say, hey, come here. And you could shake his hand. Had an opportunity. And number three was to meet the Russian Bear Ivan Koliff. Everybody, Ivan Koliff is no stranger to Carolina. Just like Steve Carano is no stranger to Emerald. You go down to the beach, you're going to bump into Steve Carano anywhere down at the beach, down there on the coastal part of North Carolina. I wanted to meet Ivan Koliff, the Russian Bear, and this one was a little harder because Ivan lived in the town next to Greenville. So when we would drive over to Winterville for work, we would just ride through Winterville, hoping that we could bump into him at the grocery store, the gas station, all the stuff. Yes, we saw him at indie shows, but it's nothing like seeing a guy out in the community and talking to him then. Indie shows, you get a chance to really talk to him, but he's got a line of people waiting for pictures, autographs, tell old war stories. Just get a chance to hard to talk with him. But when you catch him in the community in the back door, or you catch him at that gym and they say, hey, they want to talk, you get a chance to talk to him. But lo and behold, Ivan Koliff was a big fan of eating Parker's barbecue chicken. Ran right into him at Parker's barbecue chicken right there in Greenville. Enjoyed a few minutes of just his time and didn't bother him too much. Guy was a very, very religious man. Loved to talk about the religious side of what he went through, his trials to make him very religious. Just a great guy. And truly, truly somebody who should have been inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame for what he's done in wrestling. He's done so much in that past. One of these guys that, I would definitely like to see Dark Side of Rings do an episode of him talking about how he was able to go from wrestling and become a minister and get very high into the religious practice of his ministry of spreading the word around the world. And I mean, very good guy. Can't say nothing bad about him at all. Enjoyed the few minutes we got a chance to talk at Parker's Barbecue. Was one of the best days ever for me to decide to go eat some chicken and barbecue because I bumped right into the Russian Bear. And wherever you went in Greenville, whether it was Parker's Barbecue, B's Barbecue, or Peden's, and he was there, he always had a crowd of people around who wanted to talk wrestling, talk religion with him, everything. And he always took time to talk to people and tell them, when I get a chance to talk to these type of people, I'd love to get on the learning tree, use Chris Jericho's word, get on the learning tree and just hear about the business and how it was back in the days and what these guys had to go through to make it better for the young men and women that are doing it right now. Very, very glad Ivan Koliff is in the Hall of Fame. Another Carolina boy going to that Hall of Fame, and fingers still crossed. If you watched WOD a few weeks ago, we are in the process in the Carolinas of creating a wrestling Hall of Fame right here in the Carolinas. So it would be very, very attributable, very, very great to have Ivan Koliff not only inducted now in the WWE, but inducted into the North Carolina Wrestling Hall of Fame once it's created. Come on, Senator, just get that bill passed. We need it over in the Carolinas. Stay tuned. We're coming back for WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 picks. And I also got a little help with these picks this week. I got a special person who sent in their picks for me to shout out right here on WOD. You're watching WOD on the Boom Broadcasting Network. Let's go.
Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to WOD, and it is time for what everybody has been tuned in. As we told you, don't forget about the pre-show before Mania right here on Boom Broadcasting, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be sending alerts out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere you get your social media feed. We'll be texting people. Please tune in to our pre-show as we be getting ready to get you ready for Mania right here for Night 1 and for Night 2. Try something different this time for Mania. Most time we do it a different way, but we're just trying something different to see how it works. So we're going to need your support on this to make sure you tune in, because I can tell you never know who's going to drop in on the pre-show on Boom Broadcast for Mania. Night 1 is two things we know. We know the first match. We know the main event for Night 1 and Night 2, but we don't know the card as it will continue on and progress through the night. So we are going to make some picks. As I told you, I have a special helper. My daughter sent in her picks right here that she wants for me to read out on WOD so that you can know how she's leaning and picking for Mania. So our first match, we are yeeting. Man, I tell you, if you watch the Nightcap, WOD, the shows I've been on, Drop the Mic, all the other shows I've been on Boom Broadcast where we're talking wrestling, I've been saying from day one, Gunther's going to win this match. That's what I've been saying. That's been my motto. I've been sticking, but I have caught so much grief for saying that I should file a grievance to the president because the fan base has been saying, no, he will not. But if you watched the pre-show yesterday, Jey Uso is over like Rover. And I've been knowing he's over. Been over since day one when he got this main event, Jey Uso over on Raw. By himself, did all by himself, day one-ish. It's just me who did it by himself. And I was the one who said, just because you win the Royal Rumble, you don't have the main event. I would rather have the opening match because that means WWE trusts me to set the tone for WrestleMania. I'm the tone setter. I don't got to be the main event. Let me be the tone setter to start the night off right. Watching the pre-show, people love Jey Uso. They get behind him. He's the underdog. He's that American dream, Dusty Rhodes. I grew up watching the guy you want to root for, the guy you never saw coming, the guy you just say, man, why not him? Why not? Why not Jey Uso? That's how I felt watching the pre-show. I feel like fans are more behind Jey Uso than they were with Cody Rhodes. We expected Cody Rhodes to win WrestleMania 39 and 40. We expected it. We expected him to win. When Kofi Mania, it feels like Kofi Mania all over again now. Watching that pre-show on Friday at 5 o'clock, I felt Kofi Mania all over again with the fan base. Of here's a guy we didn't expect to get to this tier because he was a tag guy. He was a guy who overcame war paint, Usamu, doing all that stuff. He overcame that to become what he is now, main event Jey Uso. And as bad as I want Jey Uso to win, so we can be yeeting in that stadium, I think he's got two things going against him going into this match. Here's where I got to play spoiler now. Don't turn me off. Don't hit the stop button. Don't hit pause. Just stay with me for a little while. Let me explain my reason and my logic of thinking for this segment. Jey has to lose. Jey winning that title, it brings on three things you got to do on night one. One, you got to get the crowd calm back down for the next match. You're going to have to calm them down. How can you calm down a crowd who is going to be yeeting out of the building, yeeting from their ears, from their lungs, from their heart, because the underdog, the guy nobody saw coming, overcame the mountain to win the big one? You have to calm down. And I don't care who you put behind this match. If Jay wins and their music hits for the next match, you're not going to be able to hear them because they're going to still be celebrating Jay. That's strike one. Strike two. Gunther, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion, lost at Mania last year to Sami Zayn, which Michael Cole and Pat McAfee brought up. That's a key right there. That's a key. If you didn't watch the pre-show, they said we are undefeated at Mania, and Gunther took that very, very upsetting that they said that. When you got Cole and McAfee, and I like Cole, I like McAfee. I'm a big McAfee guy. I'm a big Cole guy. When you got two announcers that can take a shot at a guy that you want to make a serious contender as a true established champ in your brand, your announcers don't need to take jabs like that. Your announcers cannot take jabs like that. Your announcers are what they are. They are announcers. Yes, McAfee trained to be a wrestler. Yes, McAfee can wrestle. Yes, we know that. He's a very good wrestler. If he could come back on a full-time basis and even polish up, he could be a good mid-carder. Not a main eventer, a good mid-carder. Yes. But Cole's not a wrestler. He's a broadcast journalist. He had a WrestleMania moment where he beat Jerry the King Lawler. Yes, we know about the whole build-up for that match. But when you got Cole and McAfee clowning Gunther saying, we're undefeated at Mania, you already got a loss. And we supposed to take you serious as a champ. It's a jab. Number 3. If Roman loses and Jay wins, what does it say about Roman now? What does that say about Roman on night 1? Yes, he wears Ulafala. He's the head of the table. Roman loses to Punk and Rollins. Jay beats Gunther for the title. Now you can intertwine all this again where now Jay's saying, I got the belt. I'm the man. I'm the one putting down for the family now. I'm putting the work in, Roman. Excuse me. So that opens up a lot of doors, and this is why I'm saying it. You can't hurt Gunther right now. You can hurt Gunther at SummerSlam and have Jay beat him at SummerSlam in August. Jay's 0-4 against Gunther. Yes, we know that. He's 0-4 at world title shots. We know this. Jay has not beat Gunther yet. Jay does not need to beat Gunther at Mania. Jay needs to lose. People will still get behind Jay because he's the common man. He is the Dusty Rhodes. I'm sorry, Cody, but he has more of your father's traits than you because we expect Cody to win and find a way to win these type of matches. Jay, we don't. He's Jay Uso. That's why I'm wearing the shirt for the Usos. He's Jay Uso. That's what he is. He's a great wrestler. He's a great talker. He got himself over the old-fashioned way by putting in work, but we don't expect him to be a top-tier guy yet. Build it up. Gunther wins. Jay wins at SummerSlam. Give me Gunther for the win. And what does my little one say for night 1? She says Jay Uso versus Gunther. She's yeeting. She's taking Jay Uso for the win. Now, next match. Don't know this will be the next match, just going out in order until we get to the main event for both nights. The War Raiders versus the New Day. New Day are 12-time tag champs. New Day just cut a great promo on the pre-show on Friday at 5 p.m. when they cut their mics off. New Day is working his heels. I always said when Austin Creed back in TNA was a heel, that's when Xavier Woods did his best work when he was Austin Creed as a heel. I really like the way the New Day is going, like the attitude. Guys are the tone setters for the tag division. New Day's winning this match. Sorry, War Raiders. Like you guys, it's still New Days. Because like the New Day said, when they win that 13th title on Saturday night, you're going to look at your TV, and if you're in the stadium, you're going to look at the ring, you're going to say, thank God for the New Day. We're going to be saying, thank God for the New Day. New Day's win this match. Now, my little one says she disagrees with me because she's going with the War Raiders to win this match. So right now, we're both 0-2. Oh, man, wow. What am I thinking that? Now, next match, Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. Who is this El Grande Americano? We don't know who he is. Who is he? We don't know. We're going to find out. I'm taking El Grande Americano to win this match. She's taking Rey Mysterio. She feels like Rey's going to win this match. I feel like this is one of the ones they're going to really try to get this El Grande Americano over it. And it would be a nice icing on the cake. After he wins this match, he takes the mask off. It is Chad Gable. I know they're saying Chad Gable's not the person, but it would be great if that's who it was. Now, our next match. This is going to be one of the best ones on night one. A lot of people are not in tune with this match because they feel like this is one's going to get lost in the shuffle. I feel like this is going to be the breakout match of the night. But most reports side of the ring say you got to pick a margarita match. Don't make it this one. This is going to be the breakout match. Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Why is it going to be the breakout match of the night? Jade Cargill is going to follow Naomi. And Naomi is going to get her home in this match and make her look good. But Naomi's going to come out with the win in this first one. I'm taking Naomi, proceeding with caution. The little one's taking Naomi. She's proceeding with caution. This is going to be the sleeper one. Do not make this your margarita match right here. This is one to keep your eyes on because this is going to come out to be a beautiful orchestrated match if Jade can follow Naomi's lead because Naomi can work as a heel or a face. She is just so talented, and this is going to be her chance to shine and show her talents in this match. Give me Naomi, and my little one's taking Naomi for the win. So now we got to get to some title matches now. Now it's time to get to these title matches. U.S. title, night one. LA Knight, the champ, versus Jacob Fatu. Could be a match on night two right here. But they want to hold Jacob back. They want to hold him back. Pump the brakes on Jacob. Let's pump the brakes. Can't put him on night two yet. Let's let him get some shine on night one. I've been saying this since day one. Nakamura beat LA Knight because they wanted to bring Nakamura back and reestablish him as a great true mid-carder by giving back a title. Then LA Knight turned around and beat Nakamura. So you just heard me say they want to establish Nakamura as a great mid-card talent. Well, you give him the belt, but you have him lose to the former champ that he just beat. So now this guy's still established that he can put over some other talent while not being the champ. They put the belt back on Knight to build him back up because they knew they were going to Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu's winning this match. He's going to beat LA Knight's ass from post to post, coast to coast, right here in Las Vegas. That's what he's going to do. Give me Jacob Fatu to be your new United States champ. And we may have some turbulence in the family if Jacob wins the U.S. title. Now, I said Gunther's going to win, but imagine if Jay wins. Now, Jacob wins, Roman loses. We'll have some turbulence in the family somewhere. But there will be turbulence because Jacob's going to win. And my little one agrees with me. She's taking my man, coast to coast, post to post, Jacob Fatu for the win. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. Going into this match, I was very, very skeptical that Charlotte was going to win. I felt good about Charlotte winning. She came back. She won the Rumble. She reestablished herself as the queen of professional wrestling on SmackDown. She is the queen. We bow. We salute her. But 2 weeks ago, when that promo derailed, and Tiffany took those shots that she's 0-3 in marriage. When you go off rail and go into work for yourself, in favor words of my good guy, Jim Cornette, when you go into business for yourself and go off rail and go into a shoot versus what we've been kind of rehearsing to do, it starts to make you stand out. That made Tiffany stand out. with Tiffany standing out because of that, I don't think Tiffany gets punished. I think Tiffany gets rewarded because I think they're saying now we wanted to put the belt on Charlotte, but hold on. We may got some of this Tiffany Stratton girl now. This Tiffany Stratton girl may got something that we can dabble in a little bit more. Tiffany Stratton retains her title and beats Charlotte at WrestleMania. And for a Charlotte guy, that's hard for me to say. Very hard for me to say. But Tiffany has passed the old eyeball test with your boy on WOD. And I think we got something cooking with her the more we can let her be herself. We got something. She's passed the eyeball test with me, and I'm feeling good about Tiffany. Tiffany for the win. Now, my little one says it's going to be Charlotte. She knows we're a Charlotte house. We support Charlotte, our queen, that we bow to. So she's going with Charlotte, but I'm going with Tiffany for the win. Now, for our main event on night one, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth Rollins. Punk is coming out with Heyman. Roman's by himself, as Cody predicted this would happen, that the cracks would fall. At the end of the day, he would be on the island of Revelry by himself. And in the wild card, Seth Rollins. WWE booking inside of me wants to say that Heyman turns on Punk and goes with Rollins. Rollins waited 1, 2, 3. Typical WWE. That's if Vinnie Mac was still in charge. We know this. Vinnie Mac's not there no more. Roman lost at last year's WrestleMania. This is his show. Roman has a very good record at WrestleMania. Think of the people he's beat. He's beat Brock. He's beat The Taker. He's beat Seth Rollins before Mania. He's beat some great names people. Now, he's had his fair share of losses when Seth cashed in on him. Cody's beat him. But he's pretty much a winning percentile wrestler at the Showcase of Immortals on the grandest stage of them all, Mania. This is his show. This is where he makes his money. He shows us why we acknowledge him, put him by ones, and he is our tribal chief. This is Punk's first ever main event at Mania. It took this many years for Punk to finally get a main event at Mania. They're not going to let Punk walk out here without a main event. Punk wins this match with Paul Heyman helping him. And the wise man, once again, becomes the advocate for CM Punk. CM Punk wins with Paul Heyman helping him win this match. And the people leave out of Mania night one said, we can't wait for night two. And ladies and gentlemen, we got night two right here. But before I make my pick, my little one says CM Punk or Seth Rollins. She couldn't pick. And I told her I'd give her a waiver because it's a triple threat match. So she said either Punk or Rollins. I'm saying Punk all the way. She's saying Punk or Rollins. So she's saying, just like me, Roman now goes 0-2 back-to-back at Mania. Cracks in the pillars in that family. Jacob Fatu. He's somewhere around lurking with that U.S. title. Do we start nodding Jacob Fatu? We don't know. Have to find out on the Monday after Raw. Night two starts off on Saturday. We know the first match. Women's World Championship match. Io Sky, our champ. Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley. WWE has did an outstanding job building this matchup. This, to me, started off as a match that I did not want to see Bianca and Rhea because both of them are booked very dominant, strong. Adding in Io made this match now interesting when Io upset Rhea to win the title and is coming into Mania as the champ. And the story they've been telling is we keep talking about Bianca and Rhea, but we keep forgetting that Io's the champ now. Everybody's forgetting about Io Sky, the genius of the Sky. We're forgetting about. So WWE has did a great job telling this story. This has been one of the ones, arguably one of the best stories they told leading up to Mania, besides the favor that was owed by Paul Heyman with CM Punk. Now that Rollins needs a favor. Got to remember that. Rollins need a favor. I may come back to harness in that match now. I may got to go back and relook at my pick on that one. But WWE is doing good telling this story with these three ladies. And these three ladies did good on the pre-show. Continue that story. And Io said it. I'm the champ. While you two are worried about each other, you're forgetting about me, the champ. Gonna be a good match right here. I gotta lean with my girl. Bianca's undefeated at Mania, man. It's the reason why she's undefeated. Give me Bianca Belair for the win right here at Mania. Bianca Belair wins this match. For my little one, she's thinking different because she's saying it's going to be her girl, Mommy, who she loves to death, Rhea Ripley for the win. But I think Bianca's undefeated at Mania, and that's something they're keeping quiet because I said it last year. They're building Bianca up to go on a nice streak at Mania like they did with the Taker, to have her get up to maybe that 12, 15 wins and have somebody take her down and give her that first L. She's not getting it at this Mania. Bianca wins this match. Next, our women's tag title match, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley and Laura Valkyria. This feels like the match that we got to just say we're having a women's tag match. I really felt like we got to get Bayley on the show match. No, I'm a Bayley guy. I like Bayley. Bayley's my girl. I like Raquel Rodriguez. I definitely like Liv Morgan. And I think that you could have got Morgan and Raquel on Mania with another tag match. They didn't need this. But the women's IC champ, Laura Valkyria, it's gone stale. Nobody's behind her no more. You know, they say, woo, woo, they do the little bird thing. Don't be wearing woo. We're not feeling it no more, man. I don't see them doing it no more. What's going on? Somebody tell me. My thought with Mike, if you go to the show, man, tell me if they're doing it in there. Let me know. Because on TV, I'm not seeing it no more. We all talked about it on the nightcap, that we feel like she is kind of only to the wayside with a title. So what do? Have her lose. Have Bayley eat the pin. Have her turn on Bayley and make her a heel. I got to give a shout out to good brother Miles Off with Mike. He said it first. He called it. And when he called it, I was typing it in the chat that this is what I was thinking. This is the perfect time to do it. Have her turn heel at Mania. Give her some resurgence. Juice that title. Breathe the breath of life back into her by making her heel. And I think we can do so on this IC title. And have now Bayley chase her over the summer with Bayley win that IC title to add on to her illustrious career of championships he has captured in WWE. Now, here's the match. Sleeper match. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. What I would say about Logan Paul, if he took it seriously, if he gave it just a little bit more attention, if he put the flash and the razzle dazzle down in the millions and millions of subscribers to the Instagram and all that stuff beside. And if he got to that PC more than what he mainly does, he goes to the PC to prepare for these matches. But if he got to that PC arena, went down to Orlando to the performance center, that PC center, and really, really got down to the origins of wrestling, this guy could arguably be one of the greatest heavyweight or WWE Universal Champs in WWE. The guy has the it factor. He can go. He has enough in his repertoire to make him a great wrestler. He just needs a little bit more polishing on that more match style technical match. This is where we're going to see if Logan can go bell to bell. We've seen Logan have some good matches, but you're going in there with a phenomenal AJ Styles. And with the phenomenal AJ Styles, this type of match, you're looking at a match that you want to see now is the true eyeball test for Logan to see if they're ready to now elevate him to that picture where you may could see him try to get a match with Cody. If Jay wins the World Heavyweight title, elevate him to a match with Jay for the World Heavyweight title. This is kind of the tip of the iceberg match. Like I said, Logan is good. He has the it factor. He has what it takes to be a great superstar, but can he win the match is the question. I'm taking Logan Paul for the win. She's taking AJ Styles. So we are 0-2 right now, I guess. I mean, we both went different ways. The next match, the ICC match. Oh, she took for the tag match Bayley and Laura Valkyria. Okay, I took Liv and Raquel. Okay, I forgot to shout that one out. That's what she took. Now, our next match, the Fatal 4-Way. The Fatal 4-Way IC match. Braun Breaker, Penta, Finn Balor, and that no good Rodden. The guy who mouthed off with Mike hit with a chair. Dominic Mysterio. Just look at that face of Dirty Dom. You want to just grab a chair and whack him one good time with it. It's going to be a good match. Why is it going to be a good match? Because you're going to see a lot of Braun Breaker offense. You're going to see Penta. A good match to protect Penta. Don't put Penta in a one-on-one match. Yes, Penta has lost in a tag match, but he has not lost in a one-on-one competition. Very good way to protect Penta by not having him take the pin or the submission in this match. And even though it will say a loss, they can say he's never been pinned or submitted. Because just like with the tag match, they can always say he lost, but he's not a tag wrestler. If he would have had his brother Ray Phoenix, then they could have been the Lucha Brothers. They probably would have won. He was teaming with Braun Breaker. They got no chemistry. You can sell so much back in story on that right there to protect Penta. That's why they put Penta in this four-way match. Now, leading with that, Braun Breaker does not walk out of WWE WrestleMania as your IC champ. No, too easy. I have walking out of Mania with the IC title no other than that no good, rotten, dirty Dom Mysterio. Liv and Raquel turn on Finn. Dom pins Finn. 1, 2, 3. Dom walks out with the belt. Finn is out of Judgment Day. Braun goes a different way, setting up a Penta and Dom match down the road for Penta to win that IC title. But for Penta to win it, it's got to go to Dom. Then Dom puts Penta over to win that title. Dirty Dom walks out of Mania with your IC title. My little one says Penta or Finn Balor. She's a big Balor person. She likes the Judgment Day. Big Judgment Day fan. Now the street fight. Cannot have a Mania without a Las Vegas street fight. Give me just Falls Count Anywhere in the building. Do we got to do a street fight? Let's do a Falls Count Anywhere in the building. That's my favorite match. Falls Count Anywhere in the building. I can fight you in the bathroom. I can fight you at the concession stand. I can fight you in the crowd. I can pin you anywhere. I can make you submit anywhere. I can pin you or submit you in the press box. That's what I like. But we're doing a street fight, but two people just hate each other. And something about Vegas, they always got to do a Sin City street fight. I think that's the theme for whatever WWE come to Vegas. We got to do the Sin City street fight. Two guys hate each other, Priest and McIntyre. McIntyre for the win. It's easy. McIntyre. Priest beat McIntyre last year. WWE has done good with telling the story that has been a kind of a thing that has festered and festered in McIntyre so long that Priest has kind of just been hanging around this guy that beat you for the title. So why not get him back and beat him in a street fight in Sin City, in Vegas? Give me McIntyre for the win, and the little one is taking McIntyre. So we got through all the night too, but now it's time for the main event. Our champ, Cody Rhodes, coming in. John Cena coming in as a heel. Last time around, Cena going to break that record of Ric Flair. He's sitting at 16 tied. Can he break the record is the question. Can Cody overcome the odds like he had to do last year at Mania to win that title at Mania? He won it last year, and it's been a 365 calendar day year of Cody being the champ. Can he retain the title at Mania and walk out as the victor? And my friends, yes, he's retired for ESPN, but I'm going to borrow his line. Not so fast, my friends. Not so fast. Cody does not walk out of Mania with the title. John Cena. And I know I said this a few months ago. My man Chano, Nick Ramon, Four Side of Rings, me, Chano, Mouth Off with Mike on the nightcap. And I said I did not want to see Cena win this title, break Ric Flair, my childhood heroes, record, and bring back that ridiculous, uttering spinning belt. Well, Chano, I gotta agree with you. Heel Cena wins the title. Heel Cena brings back the spinning belt. Heel Cena throws the spinning belt in the trash can, brings back a new title, and said, "This is how a champ should look." I'm taking Cena to break Rick. Much as it hurts me to say it, this heel Cena I like. Why not have a heel Cena win the title and then put Cody over at SummerSlam or Survivor Series to put it back on Cody? heel Cena wins the match. And who's the little one taking? She's taking heel Cena to win the match. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, those are my picks for WrestleMania. Those are the little ones' picks for WrestleMania. Don't forget, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, jump back on Boom Broadcast. If we don't start at 5, make sure you hit that subscribe button, you hit that bell, so as soon as we go live for the WrestleMania pre-show, you are in the right place for it. This is Sean. I'll see you in a few more hours, a few more minutes, and a few more seconds as we get ready for the WrestleMania pre-show on Boom Broadcasting, and then we get ready for the Showcase of the Immortals. Somebody is going to make history on night 1 and night 2. I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sean for WOD. We got WrestleMania. I'll see you on the pre-show.